Oh, hello and welcome.
Here we are in the Azores with a beautiful group of people in the room here with us.
And our theme for this entire 4-day exploration is bringing the energies of Atlantis and Lemuria together again. And we just had a Dutch couple tell us that the Portuguese government just officially announced that they found a pyramid under the water between this island and another island in the Azores.
Yay.
That's really cool.
And we're especially blessed to have Vivienne Chevet with us.
Welcome, Vivienne.
Thank you, thank you. Very happy to be back and to do this amazing opportunity to really work with the Atlantean and the Lemurian masters, but also with each other and everyone on the live stream watching also live and the recordings, but especially also for people here in person. Such a treat to be here. Such a treat, yeah.
So we're on this small island in the middle of the Atlantic. And a few days ago, I was just standing on the coast and I could see the ocean all the way, more than 180 degrees. And it just gave me this feeling of real isolation.
Being on a planet.
We could see the curvature of the earth very clearly. That's the first time I've realized it's actually round.
Well, I guess it's never too late. Huh?
Well, you have the advantage. You've seen it from a spaceship, but I haven't.
Yes, it's true. It's very true, and I have clear memory. It's one of my favorite things is to
What?
watch the Earth.
You call it the blue pearl, right?
The blue pearl.
Mm.
She's vibrates. It's incredible.
Well, one day we'll all get to see that.
Well, you have. It's just you have forgotten. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I've forgotten most things.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I have been having this feeling here since we've been on the Azores that we're on a planet. And I think it has to do with being removed from everything. There's this sort of like a feeling of being lifted out of the mix of things so that we can really feel that we're here on this earth. And to me, it's been like, oh, that's why we can do this lifting of the constriction meditation here. So we'll say a few words about what that's going to be. In this workshop, we're going to be building a field over these days together. And on the third session of the third day, we're doing another free live stream. we're inviting everyone to bring their energy to, because it's going to be this global meditation with the focus of, again, like helping to shed a layer of limitation.
Constriction, yeah. When we were talking with Vivienne a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was, and realizing that so many people are having struggles in their life, including us, and hearing the stories from many different people about the challenges that were happening and how life is difficult. And as we were talking, Vivienne said, yes, it's like this energetic, I can't remember exactly how you said it, of constriction that's kind of superimposed on the planet. And when we were talking about that, Vivienne said, we can change this.
Yes. That's for sure.
And so from that, Alcazar came in and has talked about it and invited thousands of Stargate people to be online. Already there's a couple of thousand, and we're expecting more. So for you at home, if you haven't joined us, make sure that you're there with this one, because we're going to be building up an energy very similar to the way we did it in Greece, building it up and then blasting it out. And many people experienced a change in their lives after that experience in Greece. And we're expecting that something similar can happen, because the beauty when we work like this with all the guides and all the delegations that Vivienne's connected to, they bring their energy into us as representatives of humanity. And as they support us creating a stronger energy field, we're blasting it out. And it has an effect. Science knows it has an effect. And we're expecting this to actually uplift the planet. Just a little bit, but everything counts.
We're ready to turn the volume up. It really is. And this time what is different about the field compared to where we were last year in Greece is that there's already been a leap forward. So we're shifting. We're about to do a jump, and we're about to make another jump in a timeline. So if you look at the uplifting of the construction of the heaviness of the dualistic energies of the polarization field, if you look at each dimensional experience moving from the third to the fifth, what about the fourth? It's just a bridge. You move through right through. You don't linger in the fourth. You want to go higher. But if you look at each dimensional shift and where we can truly manifest together, one of the things that I was told as I was on the plane, like miles up in the air, is let's bring in with compassion. It's almost like, think of it as coaching the third dimensional frequency as a living being that wants to survive, that really wants to create and maintain that dualistic energies, and more in sense of coaching it so it can evolve, and more it's an invitation to really return in that point of universal compassion as a force. So all of our soul brothers and sisters, think of it as they bring cosmic presence. They all bring cosmic presence, and we are the ground crew. So the impact that we all have together, even on the live stream, everywhere, the impact we have is that we bring this cosmic presence together. And we are really at that conjunction in a timeline where we are ready to say, we're going to heal and reconcile the dualistic energy with compassion to invite it to move into a higher dimensional experience. And that's one thing that the Octurnes talks about a lot. For those of you hear me all my teaching every month, you know, we do that because this is exactly where we're moving. We are giving a golden, so to speak, opportunity to do that. And I have been connecting to the island even since just looking through the window here in the room where we are, just so you know, and I can feel the tree nations. I can feel the grids of Gaia. One thing that really struck me about the Azores is the theme around it: peaceful, magical. There's a sense of, right, slowing down. So, like you mentioned, Pragit, Angel as well, is being here will be able to become a catalyst of huge acceleration. We have the power to shift that dualistic energy of scarcity, fear, conflict, separation, all of it through the amplification of just the grid system of the island. And I'm already getting that the Atlantean masters especially going to support us a lot with this. And of course, Lemuria for sure. But there's something about the Atlantean masters will really come at that point where we need to heal and reconcile that old timeline. So that's part of the rising that we've been feeling, is they're really seeing a timeline of guilt and feeling responsible, feeling powerless. And there's many, many souls on the planet that still carry that energy. So it's just, I've been on the island for a few hours and I'm already getting all of this. Imagine after a few days.
Yeah. Well, with thousands of miles from America and Europe, and that all that chaotic energy that we generally live in and don't even notice. So being here and feeling the peacefulness is really a wonderful experience. We're already saying, oh, we're going to come back next year. So experience more of this.
We fell in love a little bit with the Azores. Yeah.
So just give me the days, I'll put on a calendar, okay? Because this is, wow, the energy here. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Yes, even at home on the live stream, just feel it. Because remember, we're all interconnected. And it reminded me briefly, I mentioned that before, but allow me to repeat again. When Peter and I, my husband and I, we were in South Africa 2 years ago, Gaia told me, you will find me everywhere you go. And that's what I love about islands like Azores, is really feeling the consciousness of Gaia, the earth. Did you know that this planet is a celestial being who has agreed to take on the form of a planet? So this celestial being that you know as Gaia is really ready to reascend to her state of grace. So, and we are the guardian, the ground crew that says, yes, I'm going to come and do that with you for all of us and for generations.
And one thing to realize is that we came here to be in a duality, to experience duality. And so you've had to have both sides. And what's happened in the past is those so-called light workers have been angry and resentful and judgmental to those in the so-called dark side. And we have to drop that. We have to, as Vivienne said, bring compassion. Because what's compassion? It's wisdom and love combined. So it's to use your own intelligence, your own wisdom, to stop judging those people that you perceive are doing things wrong, and start to have compassion, understanding that they're doing how they believe things are right. They may not be in agreement with the way we're looking at things, but what our intention here with the work that we're doing is to actually bring this duality slowly, slowly together. And at one point in the future, the duality will disappear and we'll start going this way. So it's time for us to drop our judgment. It's time for us to really move into compassion. understanding. We've all been conditioned by our parents. So have they. So they're just living their conditioning as we are. And our intention is for us slowly, slowly to let go of the conditioning and start being really present and conscious. And that's the work of the Stargate. That's Vivian's work, is to bring more consciousness here. Because the more conscious you become, the more ridiculous you see the way the world is operating right now, and the more you want to change it. You want to live in a totally different reality. And so by working together and by creating this big wave of energy on the third day, we are, as Vivian said, going to shift the timeline again, uplift the reality. And this is going to happen many times from many different places, but each step counts.
And Vivian, I love what you said about the Atlantean masters in particular having a role to play in assisting us with lifting this constriction, shifting the energy on the planet. To me, it indicates like a readiness to embrace that level of our collective past, which it makes sense to me because it's like the Lemurians are like these lovely, in harmony with nature kind of victims in the story of the downfall of those ancient civilizations. Like, and then the Atlanteans are these tech genius, like the story is essentially that they had to, their egos got too big. They wanted to do things with technology that it wasn't right for them to be doing.
Well, the image that came to me as you spoke, Jules, and thank you for mentioning this. Think of it as a DNA strand, okay? So you have one strand or one aspect is the Lemurian energy, the other is the Atlantean. So it really activates something very important even in our own DNA archetypes. So you talk about tech genius, very advanced mental faculties, and that's usually the cliche or the overall understanding of Atlantis, right? So hold that thought for a moment here. Now, the other strand, so to speak, Lemuria, more heart energy, compassion as a universal virtue, not the human emotion, but the universal virtue, and being in sync with nature, guardianship, talking with nature, crystal energy. But if you both brings them back together, that's exactly is what we are interweaving. That's the return of the perfect combination of the wisdom for opening the bridge to the higher mental faculties and to bring into the power of the heart center. And that will lead eventually to opening more to work with the higher dimensional star beings. Because if you look at the Arcturians or the six-dimensional elven groups or the Andromedans, all of it, the technology that we utilize is really high conscious assisted technology. So you talk about super brain, but at the same time, it is done with the mastery that comes with that. So I feel like we are returning that point of self-mastery where we are recombining the real power of our soul, of who we are as essence of light, essence of beingness, plus opening these really advanced, more mental faculties and abilities, like being able to be very prophetic in telepathic communications, complete self-healing, rebalancing all the vibratory tone of all of the organs and cellular at the cellular level in a heartbeat and being able, oh, there's a distortion in my field, I reconnect, I readjust, it's done. You'll be able to do that. And it's not just for us, the Arcturians, it's for the entire human race, but we are returning in that point. This is where when you talk about, Jules, about the Lemurian and the Atlantean, well, I can feel their presence right here on the island at that garden that you talked,
Mhm.
where we are staying at the hotel as a garden. So the Atlanteans just told me, after the break, I'm gonna go and commune with them because they're going to help us a lot to initiate the uplifting and the release of the old timeline of guilt,
Mhm.
feeling responsible. I remember the catalysts, releasing catalyst energies, releasing, I felt like responsible. I was unable to save those. I was unable to preserve the crystalline temple and so forth and so forth. So it is time for all of us in humanity, along with all sentient life, including the birds who are singing right now, to really uplift ourselves beyond that distortion field if we want to really continuing to reascend to into the fifth dimensional unified field. So I can feel how crucial our work together and collectively is, and how it's going to be this beautiful catalyst. And then imagine after that we come in and we interweave with the Lemurian. So the Lemurian will come, the masters will come, but first the Atlantean, oh, they're very, very present.
Mhm.
It is time. And how many souls on the planet still carrying that guilt, right?
Yeah.
Guilt and grief. Yeah.
Grief.
Like for real, how
Yes.
many of you feel a connection to Atlantis? Just raise your hands. Yeah, me too. Did
I
you
mean,
hear that
big-
sound? It was like,
That's for those at home, that's probably half the group. And
yeah.
I
more-
imagine that many of you at home are still putting your hand up. And just briefly, for those
Wait, out
people that
of you who feel a connection, how many of you feel guilt or grief or both? Raise your hand. Yeah.
yeah, quite a
So
few.
it's like this is a kind of collective shadow work that we're doing, because as we shed the grief and the guilt, there's a subtle mechanism of carrying that in our Akashic record that's keeping us distanced from that state of higher consciousness we were in those times.
Yeah.
So it's time to bring it back.
So for those that are unfamiliar with the story, basically the cataclysm of the collapse of the Atlantean society, there were people that felt guilty because they were participating in creating that, and a whole bunch of people who were there feeling victims of what was happening. And so that's carried in those that were there, carry that very strongly, either guilt or victimhood. But also, we're talking about many, many thousands of years ago. And as you know, you get conditioned by your parents. And so over the ages, as humanity has evolved, more and more people have got one or more of their ancestors connected back to that time. And so many people carry it in their subconscious without even realizing it. And that's why it's so important at this time for all of us, whether you feel a connection or not, to have that intention of bringing everything back into balance. And that's what we're doing here.
This,
Yes.
yes, this image you gave, Vivian, of the DNA spiral with that heart-centered reverence for nature and then the tech genius higher intellect coming together. And when you were talking about that, it made me realize like this is actually so what humanity needs right now, with these huge leaps of exponential leaps in our technology and AI suddenly being on the scene. There's this physicist who many of you know I love, Nassim Haramein, who, when he's asked in one of these like little campfire chats about whether he's concerned about like the AI robot uprising, he essentially said, I'm not worried at all, because the technology will always be a reflection of human consciousness. So it's really up to our consciousness, because especially AI, it's literally a reflection. of everything we've ever put on the internet.
Mhm.
So what you're talking about with, don't worry, we don't have to talk about AI. Vivian does not like it. When you're talking about this like true high consciousness tech that you have in the galactic craft in those other realms, to me, it's like this work that we're doing of really embracing our higher consciousness here is crucial at this phase in humanity's development, so that we don't go into some kind of super virtual reality dystopian thing where we're literally layering artificial layers of multidimensional reality. That's like essentially like what that has the potential of becoming, where people can escape into a virtual world instead of realizing that there's a multidimensional universe to explore.
Mhm.
That's an important distinction you just made, because, you know, if you look at the very, very ancient civilization, it's been around for a long time, like the really high council of the Pleiadians, who we will be working with very intensively when we go to Uluru, and the Lemurians and other groups like my group and others. We have seen timelines created out of the misuse of these technology without the assistance of the consciousness and the mastery that comes with it. So we need to unwind ourselves from these virtual realities and unplugging our children and our teenagers away from it and bring themselves back in terms of rediscovering what they have, what understanding the power they're harvesting. And especially that each generations of soul coming to the planet, well, they're the next building block in the sense that the previous generations have been preparing the field, preparing the light. So the next generation can bring less burden. They can be more open, having less veil. This is why I always honor the previous generations, because they're really pioneers. So those who've come before I came back to the planet have led the way so I can be and bring the next level. And I'm a bridge between the other generation and those before me. So I know this is very much so. So as we move forward, we understand that the children are coming in. You know, 5-year-old, 4-year-old talks about, oh, I'm a commander on that ship, and then I'm here to do this, and that. And they talk about it because they come with no veil, where the star seeds have come maybe like in the 30s or 40s, came such a heaviness, and the dualistic energy was so heavy that the challenge for them to really remembering or bring more these cosmic memories to the surface was much greater. So I like to look also have the evolution. People says, well, humanity doesn't seem to evolve that much. Well, I would say it depends on what angle you're looking at. Because if you look at just the energy of each generation, well, yes, each generation will have its challenge and its rise, but it really is, you can feel, and there is a rising coming in too. So leading up to what you just said, Jules, is understand what is coexisting with you right now in terms of technology, in terms of tools, and understanding that we're going to go well beyond that. And there will come a time in the future timeline, well, the higher dimensional ETs or the star beings we're going to be able to share the kind of quantum holographic and conscious organic technology that we have. Can you imagine for a moment being able to pilot through any point in the multiverse, huge ship, almost like planetary size ship, by the organic assistance of the ship and the mental faculties of projecting precisely a point in time and being able to bring that ship there? It's extraordinary. And it sounds like, you know, like super futuristic or science fiction and very advanced, but it's a reality that coexists with you now.
Are you saying that you're craft traveled not just through space, but through time.
Mhm.
So when are you from?
Remember, I'm here for the future timeline.
Yes.
So that's for a future conversation.
Cool. I'll look forward to when we're ready for that.
So do I.
So we're going to move into an energy experience. Before we do so, Vivian, you said 2 words about Atlantis. I want to ask you about. You said the crystal temple,
Mhm.
like the crystal temple. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, yes, thank you for bringing that up. And I know you feel it too, Pragita. I can feel that. And many of us, so you have to think about, people like to work with crystal, and even my husband worked with crystal, but crystals are really ancient archives. And when you start to really working with the vibratory energy and start to understand the language and the properties of crystal, like clear quartz, for example, you can decode extraordinary amount of data and the ability to harness that energy. So it is still very well known that back in Atlantis, they were what's called a crystalline temple, place of self-healing, a place of reverence, a place of also pure energy that would feed the different islands, because we know that Atlantis was made in different islands, but everything was made around the spherical circular movement. So that energy of these crystalline temple with the giant clear quartz generator of pure crystalline energy was also serve as a serve of energy and being able to feed the islands. We too have very specific form of very advanced higher dimensional crystal that we utilize even in our realm to feed some of our planets and bring the energy that connects to the great central sun. So it's something that was not new to Atlantis, but that was also existing in Atlantis. And this is why there's many healers or light workers, even to this day, are still drawn to the memory of utilizing crystal as a source of healing, vibrational energy, the resonance field, right?
When I was 5, I discovered what nicknames are. And I gave myself 3 nicknames:
Okay.
Crystal, Awesome, and Power.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, my inner child is proud. It's like my dad was a doctor and my mom was an accountant and a nurse. Like they didn't teach me about crystals, but like it's that knowingness.
See, even at the age of 5-year-old, I love that because you feel the purity and the innocence when you share that. But because you are harvesting that already from there. The thing is that you may be a 5-year-old at a time, but you still are an old soul,
Yeah.
and you still carry all these akashic memories. And depending on what soul design or soul essence you brought in, well, certain of these memories or faculties will be closer to you. So you give yourself a nickname at 3 levels. You combine them all 3 together. That's your crystal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the way that I'm imagining Atlantis with what you're saying is like concentric circles where like the most kind of core power is at the center. And so when I imagine the civilization, it's like there's these really, really high level crystal temples or one temple in that center where there were these priestesses. Is this like I'm like literally just talking out my butt right now? Can you say something about this? It's like I'm like, you remember, please.
And that's why we work so well together, because we're such a balance.
You use your mouth and Julianne.
It's been far too long.
Yeah.
Well, I will speak from from memory. So I have a huge fondness of Atlantis, a
Yeah.
very huge fondness. Lemuria too, Atlantis especially, but not as an Atlantean, as a higher dimensional being. So you have to think about that even in Lemuria that was still existing, but in Atlantis, you have the major, huge crystal temple, but it was also many portal that were connecting to the planet and off planet. Okay, so these portal, this is how many beings will come. Different council will come to commune, connect with the Atlantean, work with the high priests and the high priestesses. Feel those words, high priests, high priestesses, because I know they speak to many of us, many. So many of us has different tasks, whether you are guardians of the temples, whether you were the one communicating with off-planet delegations or going off-planet to meet with councils. The Octurans, I remember that we did assign a delegation to the outposts to watch over Atlantis. But the thing about Atlantis, it's multiple stages. It's not just one Atlantis. And we know that different stages and there's been many books and research done around this. So different stages. And then there was a time where Atlantis was very successful. It reached its golden point. It reached its peak. But now the reflection of that peak is where we are today. Why? How? That's because when Atlantis reaches golden age, they were at a thriving point. This is where there was other influence. It's not just the Atlantean. There's other influences that was off planet that came and kind of threw a pebble or a monkey wrench in all of this. It's a seduction of going, well, I can be more powerful. I can be disconnected from source. I can play source and I'm going to disconnect. And that was the beginning of the descending. But the thing is, for many intergalactic delegations, we understood that once they reached a golden age, if they were not sustaining that point and move forward in their evolution, we knew that would be the end of that project. And sure enough, that's what happened. So what can we learn about that field? Because this, let's call it Akashic field of memories, coexists with us now. So we can learn from the mistake. We can learn from what happened, extrapolate the wisdom, and that's what we're going to do, to be able to uplift ourselves beyond the same patterns that they went through. And again, I believe it was at least 5 cycles, if I remember correctly. They said it might be a 6th cycle, but the 6th point was when the Atlantean who remained in incarnation moved on, and then the other soul were taking off planets. But all of these energies, crystal, even these, oh, yes, thank you. I just got an energy. We can even call upon these etheric crystal and bring the energy, the pristine, pure energy of these powerful crystal and healing temple, and to bring it back today in our golden age. It is time to reascend.
Yeah.
We have learned from duality. We have learned from different rhythmic pattern. It is time to come back to our cosmic presence. Won't you agree? Thank you.
So we really are going to move into an energy experience now. And we're going to be connecting to the energies of Atlantis and Lemuria. This island is, this chain of islands is special because it has the connection to Atlantis, this pyramid that was just found under the ocean. So the pre-cataclysmic, like the before the flood ancient civilization of Atlantis had an outpost here, one of these concentric rings. And Lee Carroll and Cryon have said that the Azores are one of the locations that the Lemurians came to by boat after the fall. So both energies are co-present here.
Mm. Okay, so we'll go into the first meditation just to bring us all together around the world. And as we do that, as we gently bring ourselves together and raise the energy here, we're preparing for these days together, and the energy is just going to grow and grow until we access that point of change.
And if you're joining us on the free live stream, be aware that you are invited to join us for the full 4 days. You can go to a short link, stargate.live/Azores 2024, and sign up for the full 4-day experience there. If this resonates with you, we'll say that now because we're about to go super far out into the quantum field.
Okay.
So close your eyes, go inside.
And everyone at home, just really tune in, almost visualize yourself here in the room. Close your eyes, have your body comfortable, and meditate with us. And we're going to turn the cameras off so that it encourages you just to go inside and meditate with us, because your energy will assist what's happening. You're needed. Good. Beloved ones, we greet thee. 'Tis Alcazar. And it is, as always, a great honor for us to be here with all of you around your world. And so we invite you to simply relax. As we have said many times, there's nothing to do. It's about simply relaxing and allowing, so that the energies that will be brought into this meditation can start to trigger your own higher consciousness. It can help relaxing the mind so that your awareness of your consciousness can become clearer.
So, beloved ones, as you simply relax, be open to the potential that wherever you are and whenever you are listening to these words, you are indeed connected as one to this energetic field. These experiences are experiences that you create together. You build the field over these days together. You experience the heights, the depths, the releases, and the shedding of the past together. And as you do so, you have an impact on the whole consciousness of humanity. So we invite you now as one, each one of you, asking inside for the energy of the earth to come up into your body, into your energy field.
And so we call the energy of Gaia, of Terra, the consciousness of this beautiful planet, to bring energies up into this space, into our bodies, assisting us in grounding, being present, relaxing. Nothing to do. And now we are going to invite each one of you just to ask internally, asking inside for an etheric stargate, the consciousness of the stargate, to come down around you, to connect with you, so that you feel as if you are seated or lying down inside the stargate.
So asking inside, we are calling for the presence of an etheric stargate, the higher dimensional consciousness of the stargate, and visualizing, sensing this stargate structure around you.
And just asking for it to activate, which is simply giving your permission for it to work with you.
We call for the activation of all the stargates around the world.
And your stargate will begin to radiate just a very soft energy field around you. Nothing to do. Just relaxing into the softness. And as most of you know, we are now going to gently vibrate your etheric stargate faster and faster, moving up through the frequency ranges of the dimensions.
So all the stargates gently raising their vibration, moving up through your third into your fourth dimensional frequencies, and continuing to rise. Through the fifth dimension now, continuing into the sixth, and moving up into your seventh dimensional frequency ranges, where we bring all the stargates to a gentle pause.
And so as your stargate vibrates at the seventh dimensional energetic, just asking inside for that energy to radiate to you and in fact through you.
So
for this energies gently vibrate you at a cellular level.
we are calling for a strong seventh dimensional energy field.
And relaxing into it. And as you do so, your own energy will gently align these higher vibrations. It happens quite naturally. Nothing to do. Nothing to do. Very good. And so now we continue to vibrate a little faster, moving out of the seventh dimensional energetics, through the eighth dimension energies, merging into the frequencies of the ninth dimension now. And continuing.
Through the ninth into your 10th dimensional frequencies, and vibrating faster still as we move up into your 11th, through the 11th dimension, and into the 12th. And here in this 12th dimensional vibratory rate, again, all the stargates coming to a gentle pause.
And again, we invite you just to ask inside for your stargate to radiate these 12th dimensional energetics to you.
We are calling for a strong 12th dimensional energy field all around the world.
And as you relax, your own energy gently responds, slowly, slowly beginning to harmonize, to resonate with those energies around you, effortlessly. Creating the soft, gentle energy that's connecting each one of us around the world, the Stargate grid, this peacefulness, this stillness being shared and amplified by each one connecting in together. Yeah, very good. And as you know, as you start to vibrate this higher level, you become more sensitive to those benevolent beings available to assist us in this awakening process. And we usually start by inviting the angelic realm because they have been accepted by many of your religions over the ages. And so we are going to ask each one of you now to ask inside with a strong feeling, the desire to feel the angelic realm bringing their presence into this space that we are creating around the world.
And so each one of us asking with feeling, we are calling for the presence of the angelic realm.
And feel, just feeling as the energy shifts, as the angels bring their presence into this global meditation. And you can invite them to come closer.
Come closer, angels.
Feeling their loving support for each one of us. Very good. Very good.
As you have heard, beloved ones, these days are about connecting to the fundamental archetypes of your living past. The Lemurians with their nature, their heart-based connection to the all that is, their community of oneness and compassion, and the Atlanteans, who brought to this planet a very interesting epoch of higher consciousness, higher technology, power sources that can draw upon the energy of the fabric of existence, and so much more. We are going to invite each one of you first to connect to the Lemurian energies. And so we are going to invite you, first of all, to simply ask inside for the energy of the island of Maui, the place where the Stargate was born, the place where Pragit and Julianne both first channeled Alcazar. This place in the Hawaiian Islands that was once a mountaintop of Lemuria.
And so we ask inside for the energies of Lemuria.
We are
feel
calling for the energies of Lemuria and the island of Maui.
there is a titanium stargate anchoring within the crater of Haleakala. feeling the Lemurian energies coming into the Stargate grid as you call them forth. Here, the masters of Lemuria, inviting them to join us now.
So each one of us asking inside, we are calling forth the masters of Lemuria. And feel, here they come.
You have been waiting for this moment. Feel. 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 Yeah. Very good.
And as you have heard, the Lemurians came here, one of the locations that their exploratory civilization embarked upon as they left that island of Hawaii was the Azores. And so we invite each one of you all around the world, no matter where you are, to invite the energy of the island of the Azores.
And allowing the vibration of nature, the vibration of this place, the stillness, the isolation from the rest of the world, allowing the power of Gaia, the power of nature, to bring us into a vibration of naturalness, letting go for a while of the hectic frequencies of life elsewhere. Very good.
Stepping out of time into this quantum connectedness, the vibrancy of the natural world can take you beyond the mind, deep into the present, the stillness. Very good. And we invite each one of you now to connect to the Atlantean energies. As you have heard, this island was once a part of that vast civilization, an outcropping on the periphery, so to speak, but interconnected as one. And so we are going to invite you now to ask inside for the energies of Atlantis. So many of these locations that were once part of that civilization are under your oceans, your seas. And so first, just asking inside for the vibration of ancient Atlantis. And feel
that height of consciousness that they reached in ancient past.
that vast interconnectedness. And now inviting the masters of Atlantis to bring their energy here.
We call for the presence, the masters from Atlantis, to bring their energy into this global meditation. Can you feel that shift in the energy? As these masters also join us, the priests and priestesses of those times, bringing their energy here, They too have been waiting for this moment. Very good. Very good.
And as you feel the presence of the Atlantean masters with you, let's just take a moment to bathe in the cosmic presence of each other. The Atlantean masters reflect an aspect of you. Many souls remember Atlantis in their heart and in their soul. And today, on a global level, we are reconnecting with each other in the truth of our divine essence, to rekindle with the truth and the essence of Atlantis, the rising of the healed timeline, reconciled, elevated once more in consciousness, in embodiment, and also for Gaia, Mother Earth, preparing for the gentle shift out of dualistic grief and guilt energy grids and returning to universal compassion, wisdom, universal love. Those are sacred virtues for the reascension. Rejoice in the presence of the Atlantean masters, your brothers and sisters. They have evolved beyond the 5 cycles of catalysts and other trauma. Today they have returned more than ever to help all of us to heal, resolve, and complete the old wounds. It is a time of reconciliation. And reconciliation leads to elevation. What else there is beyond grief and guilt, those energies can be transmuted into higher form. Let's extrapolate the true wisdom, the knowledge, remembering within you the inner knowingness of what was your task or your responsibilities at the time of Atlantis, and to bring those tasks, those gifts, and responsibilities as part of your sacred soul mission, your soul purpose, in the here and now, in a timeline of where we are, where we have returned together. And it is a global planetary meditation. It is the first initiation in the presence of the Atlantean masters, reflecting the mastery back to you. Just own it, embody it, heal your core of worthiness. What was then is now released. Today, you are being given a grand opportunity to rise once more. Atlantis in the golden age will be merging with the ascension timeline for Gaia and all sentient life forms. Take a moment to feel and integrate this. in your being, in your thought forms, in your communications, emotions, in your physical forms, in all aspects of your radiance, all aspects of your radiance. So let's just take the time to breathe into it. It's now that the space has been open, the invitation of the masters have been accepted and received with joy. It is just the beginning. And let's just integrate, allowing all of it to become a part of you, for it already exists in your Akashic field. So let's just breathe in the here and now, and remembering more and more of your cosmic self in this human experience. And to gently allowing yourself to feel the grids of Gaia right here on the island of Azores. From wherever you are around the world, remember the grids are all interconnected. It is still Gaia everywhere you are. It is still Gaia. Into the presence also of the Stargate, we invite you to gently return in full consciousness, to return in full consciousness back into your body, integrating all the virtues and the energies, still with the masters, with joy and presence. Let's take a deep breath and release. And welcome back.
And as you open your eyes, stay connected to this energetic that we've started to create together. For we will be building this over these days. We'll be taking a break in a moment or two. So see if you can really be aware of the energy and hold it throughout the break. That's a challenge, but let's see if we can start to focus on that in each of these breaks. So we'll be ending this session now. To those people around the world, thank you for being with us.
Join us, please, on the third session of the third day. We're going to do a huge energy blast around the world. We'll have all been building and building and building the field. So please tell your friends about it. Join us. If you want a reminder, you can go to stargate.live/Azores 2024 and put your name and email, and we'll send reminder emails and give you the link to that live stream. And we hope to see you there. It's profound work for the planet, and it sounds like grandiose to say that we can do something like lifting constriction for humanity. However, after what we did in cause with 1,000 people in person and another 1,000 plus online, and the shifts that we all felt, like so many people had profound changes since last October, I kind of believe it now.
I like the kind of believer.
I'm starting to catch on that we're actually powerful.
Well, that's a doubt that many people have until you start to experience it.
Exactly. I'm starting to experience it, which is powerful.
Okay, so we
much
will
love,
see you
big hugs.
after the break.